Savage Dragon 86 from April of 2001. Enter Mighty Man. Very exciting cover for a very exciting issue. There's a lot more going on than just the return of Mighty Man. So let's get into this divisive issue. Quickly, I will say Josh Eckhorn is an oafish, rampaging imbecile. Then I will point out that we have our first cold open. No credits or title over here, just straight to this conversation between these two shadowy figures, determining if indeed the dragon is finally dead. Obviously, last issue, we saw him killed, torn in half by gunfire, thrust into this fiery pit, and incinerated by a column of flames. So he's toast. Or is he? This guy wonders aloud. Dragon has been killed before, always returns. Why should they believe it now? He demands that they watch the tape again, specifically SD 85211, a convenient code that shows the issue number, page number, and panel number that shows off this blue rim light on Cyberface's face. So maybe it's nothing, but there he is, alive and well. Savage Dragon, the world's mightiest man indeed. Roll credits: Eric Larson, writer and artist; Chris Eliopoulos, letterer; Ruben Rude and Abel Motown, colorist. Now, before moving on to this reveal, let's talk a little bit more about these two opening pages. First, many fans write in to say that it has like Tarantino vibes. And I would agree. You know, how many Tarantino films start with Tim Roth in the middle of some conversation that you're just dropped into? Specifically like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. You know, it's 2001, so his filmography was relatively short. Anyway, besides the punchy dialogue, there's also a little bit of Larson ingenuity on display here. He only drew 2 panels and pasted them over and over again, slightly zooming, recoloring the light in the glasses here. But he got 24 panels out of just 2, so that's pretty impressive. And he'll reuse that gimmick again later in this issue. So if you remember, Eric Larson got sick a few months ago. He had pneumonia and bronchitis, and this was one of the issues that he was working on at the time. So his time at the drawing table was limited. So whatever the reasoning, it's an effective couple of pages here, leading to this reveal of the dragon on the title page. And then this killer double-page splash where we find out Vanguard was responsible for that blue flash, teleporting Dragon out just in the nick of time before he met his demise. Obviously, some leg rehabilitation going on here. I think these Scorpion robots are helping in that regard, but they look pretty damn scary. This whole section is just ominous with the black panel borders and the black spatter. Some fans would write in and say that this reminds them of Jay Lee's art style. And I'm a Jay Lee fan still to this day, so I pulled some of his early work, some Savage Namor, and you can see his use of black borders and silhouette and the spatter and stuff, so understand why fans would see the similarities in this work. All right, so once again, Larson reusing some panels for this 24-panel layout. Still a lot of work, and I didn't even notice this the first time because I was just kind of engrossed in the story. So Vanguard has been low profile, and but he saw the TV broadcast of his execution, so he had to intervene. And they talk for so long that Dragon grows his legs back and gets a new outfit on with some sneakers here. He's ready to hit the road after looking up some friends on the computer. Vanguard wishes him luck, sending Dragon on his way. Some more duplicate panels here and here as Vanguard realizes that he's been found out by Cyberface. But the real shocker on this page turn is the wild new style over here that Larson pulls out of nowhere. Fans are shook by this artistic experiment. Some love it, some hate it. I think it works great, especially as a signifier of a location change, and especially if that location is Kansas City, Missouri. This is definitely a Wizard of Oz moment. Very well played, putting the audience on their heels, going from the black to the white panel borders, open, clean line work, minimal rendering, kind of flat colors with minimal gradients. It looks completely like a different artist from 2 pages ago, but it's the same team, colorist and everything. This artwork has me distracted from the story at the moment, but here's what you need to know. Dragon looked up Nurse Ann Stevens, a.k.a. Mighty Man, in Kansas City, and he wants to recruit her help in the fight against Cyberface. But there's a catch. She does not know that she possesses superpowers. She was unknowingly gifted the powers in the same way as, by the original Mighty Man. But in this reality, she's never tapped those wrists together. So Dragon corrects this for her, turning her into her alter ego for the first time. It's shocking for Anne, but Dragon starts laying the guilt on thick, saying, like, you're a nurse, you help people. Think of how many people you can help as Mighty Man. It's a hell of a lot to unload on somebody. And she rejects the call to adventure. But the adventure comes to them. This is the savage world after all. These crazy red monsters burst in. They start working over the dragon while Mighty Man stares slack-jawed and paralyzed. Finally, Dragon screams, they're killing me! And Anne finds the courage to knock their heads clean off. Once the fight is over, Dragon realizes that taking Anne along his mission would probably be a liability, and he determines that she is not ready. But he tells her to practice, maybe start knocking some mountains down. Gives her a kiss on the forehead, walks off down the road like another green hero, or maybe Michael Landon. But all in all, I really enjoyed this one. So on to Fanatics. Here, Larson thanks the fans for allowing him to indulge this wild hare and let him mess around with some new art styles. He says he's going to work on getting these issues out and get out from under the deadline mess that he's in, and try and get the cover dates to more accurately reflect the sales date. So this has been going on for a while. I said this one was April of 2001, but it was actually released in June. So that's a 2-month discrepancy. The release schedule of this book has been a little haphazard, but hell, it's better than countless others. So lots of reaction to issue 84, but I wanted to highlight this one here by Jeff Dyer. He asked if any of Larson's family read Savage Dragon and what they think. Larson says he doesn't know of a single family member that reads his book. It's kind of sad. He gets zero feedback these days from the same family he used to be so encouraging when he was a child or a younger artist. But he understands, he says, because he's been doing this professionally for 2 decades at this point. So the novelty is well worn off for them. Then Jeff asked why DC and Marvel use crappy paper, but Savage Dragon is on quality paper, even though it sells less than those comics. And Larson says that he prints on nice paper because he cares about the quality and he wants this book to look good. So he's willing to pay extra in the production process. And let me say that I've reaped the rewards here, because these comics hold up decades later and often look better than books that I am buying and reading today. Not just the production value, but the whole reading experience. You got 0 ads, robust letter pages, just a whole lot of back matter and cool stuff. The fact that he cared about these comics ensured that they look great today. And so that's an incredible thing that he's done. Down here, we got the Dr. Desperate Times. It looks like Larson rewrote a strip with some alternate lettering. It's an old joke. Maybe you've heard of it. I was so drunk, I went home and blew Chunks, he says. The guy's like, what's the big deal? He's like, Chunks is the dog. Anyway, what else we got? Olav Beamer gets called out as a hypocrite, or at least a flip-flopper. I won't get into it, but there's a lot of stuff to cover. First, a Freak Force pin-up here by Vic Bridges and Terry Austin. It's kind of interesting. The dates don't line up there. We got Bridges 95 and Austin 01. What the hell there? Interesting. Then there's the new Image Insider. So first, the editorial spotlighting some younger Image talent nominated for a Russ Manning Award. Neither would win, but one of them, Marty Bauman, would go on to work in animation for some very successful films like Big Hero 6, Zootopia. Then down here, we got another artist that would leave comics for Hollywood, Dawn Brown, promoting her book Little Red Hot Bound. But she would go on to work as a concept artist for Star Trek and Star Wars, so a nerd's dream. Finally, a list of comics coming out. I clocked this release of Chasing Dogma, which is a comic that bridges the gap between Dogma and Chasing Amy. And I bring that up because just this week I picked up a Chasing Amy comic. It's like a facsimile of the comic that Holden McNeil gives to Alyssa at the end of the film. Anyway, just showing that off because it's just all circular, nothing new under the sun, except for Megaton Man. Don Simpson is back to finish this story that I thought had wrapped up, but no, there's 2 more installments of the finale of Megaton Man, at least in print. So, and Don Simpson plugs his website up here, megatonman.com. This issue ends with Desperate Times, where the boys dress up in cosplay, go to a science fiction convention. Some fun gags in there. But that'll wrap this one up. We got a preview of what's to come, including issue 87, Havoc in the Hidden City. Adios.